For nearly 2,000 years, the most powerful people in the Mediterranean walked 13 dusty miles out of Athens. They fasted for 3 days and finally stood in a darkened stone hall. Their grueling journey ended with a single act. They drank 1 cup of barley water, known as kykeon, and they would not say what it did to them. The penalty for describing the experience was death. Playwrights were nearly executed on stage for even hinting at the ritual. Yet the cult survived plagues, wars, and the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. It was more consistently popular than the Olympics. Emperors took the cup. The Roman statesman Cicero drank it, stating that nothing had taught him how to die with better hope. Plato used the vision at Eleusis as a metaphor for the soul beholding pure truth. A religion that anchored the ancient world for millennia rested entirely on the preparation of a cup of porridge. To understand that strange Greek silence, I am doing something faintly ridiculous in a 21st century kitchen. I am going to brew that cup. We actually have the recipe. It was copied down in a hymn to the goddess Demeter around 600 years before the Common Era. The poem tells the story of the disguised grain mother asking her hosts for a very specific mix: water, barley meal, and a sprig of pennyroyal mint. By putting these actual ingredients in a pot today, we can test whether the explanation for this ancient mystery is hiding somewhere in the physical drink itself. We need to talk about the pennyroyal because it is the asterisk on this entire recipe. It belongs to the mint family, but it is smaller and much sharper than common spearmint. The ancient Greeks used it regularly. Playwrights like Aristophanes recommended it as a simple digestive aid for a stomachache, but pennyroyal contains a compound called pelargon. This side-by-side molecular breakdown compares a safe, single-leaf water infusion on the left with a highly concentrated, toxic essential oil extraction on the right. At concentrated doses, pelargon is genuinely toxic. While a pinch of the raw leaf used to flavor barley water is fine, nobody should be experimenting with pennyroyal oils or strong teas. Ancient priestesses managed these ingredients with a pharmacist's precision. They treated the kitchen as a laboratory where a digestive aid could become a lethal dose. The reconstructed method requires us to roast whole barley, pound it into coarse cracked grain, combine it with cold water, and bring it to a slow simmer for 2 hours. While that cooks, we have to look at a scandalous idea published in 1978. 3 researchers, including the chemist who synthesized LSD, suggested the kykeon was deliberately infected with a fungus to produce visions. They pointed to Claviceps purpurea, known as ergot. In medieval villages, unregulated doses of ergot caused mass hysteria and gangrene. The classical establishment laughed, viewing it as a projection of 1960s drug culture backward onto the most sacred rites of ancient Greece. Then came 1998. Archaeologists excavating an Iberian sanctuary dedicated to the same goddess tested the residue inside a ritual chalice and the plaque on the teeth of a young man buried there. They found ergot in both. And in 2026, researchers published a paper showing how an ancient temple could have handled the poison. In this cross-section of ergot submerged in an alkaline soak, we see a chemical process easily managed in a Greek kitchen. The wash breaks down the toxic ergotamines. Those dissolving red structures cause gangrene, while milder psychoactive alkaloids survive safely inside the core. Ancient kitchens possessed the tools to safely mass-produce a potent psychedelic drug. Back in our kitchen, the barley has given up its starch. We strain the milky liquid and add a pinch of pennyroyal off the heat, like a delicate herb in a soup. The result is the color of warm cream, slightly grayish at the edges. It smells of toasted grain and the sharp, cold stream note of the mint. I am taking a sip. It is a thin, filling gruel with a herbal aftertaste. It is emphatically not delicious. This gap raises a final question. Why did a bland, comforting bowl of soup induce such overwhelming joy? The classicist Walter Burkert argued that you do not need a psychedelic drug to explain the visions at Eleusis at all. Consider the physical state of the initiates. They had walked all day in the heat and fasted for 3 days. They had endured ritual humiliation on the road, only to be crammed into a dark, smoky hall with 2,000 anxious strangers. Under that intense physiological strain, the nervous system is fragile. When someone finally hands you a cup of warm, gentle nourishment, the psychological release alone can be massive. The chemical debate over the presence of ergot often obscures the reality of the ritual. Ultimately, the combination of hunger, silence, and exhaustion turned a simple porridge into a spiritual anchor. The power of the ritual resided in the person holding the cup.